Welcome to the Spelling Bee Ninja podcast, where we dive deep into the world of English grammar. Today, we're going to explore the present perfect tense. This is a fascinating and vital part of English that connects the past to the present. It's used frequently in conversations, storytelling, and even your favorite shows. So, whether you're a budding English learner or just looking to brush up on your skills, you're in the right place. Let's get started. The present perfect tense is unique because it describes actions or events that happened at an unspecified time in the past but are connected to the present moment. This means that the exact time of the action isn't as important as the fact that it occurred. To form the present perfect tense, we use the auxiliary verbs have or has along with the past participle of the main verb. For example, if I say, I have finished my homework, the focus is on the completion of the homework, not when it was done. On the other hand, if I say she has not seen the movie, it highlights that the movie is still unseen by her, which is relevant right now. Let's break this down a bit more. First, in affirmative sentences, we use have or has followed by the past participle of the verb. For instance, they have traveled to Japan several times indicates multiple visits without stating when exactly. In negative sentences, we add not after have or has. So, you might say, he has not played soccer today, which implies he hasn't played up to this moment. Interrogative forms, the questions, begin with have or has. For example, have you ever been to London, is a common way to inquire about someone's experiences. The present perfect tense serves several key purposes in English communication. Let's explore each of these purposes with examples. The first is describing unspecified time in the past. In this case, the focus is not on when something happened, but rather on the action itself. For example, saying I have read that book doesn't tell us when I read it, just that at some point, I did. Another important use of the present perfect is to express life experiences. It's a great way to share your personal journey without pinpointing exact times. For instance, you might say, she has visited Paris. This means she has that experience without saying when it took place. Next, we have actions that have a present relevance. Imagine saying, I have lost my keys. The action, a loss, still affects you now, you can't find your keys at this moment. Similarly, if someone says, he has broken his arm, the significance remains because the person still has a broken arm. Have you ever noticed how we often use this tense in conversations about actions that are just completed? The present perfect can describe recent actions using keywords like just or already. For instance, saying, I have just finished my dinner, communicates that it just happened. You might also hear, she has already left for work, which implies that she is no longer at home. Additionally, the present perfect can describe actions continuing over time, like, we have lived here for 5 years. This indicates that the action started in the past and is still true now. We often use time expressions like since and for to clarify these situations. For example, we say he has worked at the company since 2010, showing a timeline that began in the past and continues. Now that we've covered the uses, let's look at some common time expressions that you'll frequently find with the present perfect tense. Phrases such as for and since help to add additional context. For instance, if I say, she has been a teacher for 10 years, the word for indicates a length of time. On the other hand, since gives a specific point in time, like they have known each other since childhood. Other useful words include already, yet, just, ever, and never. For instance, I have already done my homework signifies that the homework is finished before now. When we ask a question about an action that has not occurred up to this moment, we might say, has she called you yet? Or when talking about experiences, we could ask, have you ever tried sushi? This is a fun way to learn about someone's past. Now, let's address some common confusions between the present perfect and other tenses. First, the present perfect tense is often compared to the past simple tense. The key difference here is that the past simple is used when the timing of the action is important and specified. For instance, saying I saw that movie yesterday tells us exactly when it happened. In contrast, using the present perfect like I have seen that movie emphasizes the experience rather than the timing. Additionally, we can see differences with the present continuous tense. The present continuous describes actions happening right now, such as I am reading a book, indicating an ongoing action at this specific moment. On the contrary, the present perfect highlights something that has been completed with a link to the present, like I have read that book. Lastly, we can look at how it differs from the present perfect continuous. The present perfect continuous stresses the duration of an action, like, I have been painting the house all morning, while the present perfect focuses on the result of that action, I have painted the house. Now that we've covered these concepts, let's discuss some common mistakes learners make with the present perfect. One mistake is using the wrong auxiliary verb. For example, saying she have gone to the store is incorrect. The right form is she has gone to the store. Another frequent error is confusing the past simple with the present perfect, like in the example I did my homework already. The correct expression would be I have already done my homework. Sometimes, students forget the past participle. Instead of saying they have eat lunch, you should say they have eaten lunch. It's also common to misplace time expressions. The question have you yet finished your homework should be have you finished your homework yet? Understanding the present perfect tense can be challenging, but remember, practice makes progress. Let's think about how we can incorporate these lessons into our everyday conversations. The key is to remind yourself to use the present perfect when discussing experiences, actions with ongoing relevance, or those recently completed. Today, we learned that the present perfect tense is critical for expressing actions linked to the present. We covered its structure with the use of have or has plus the past participle. We explored its various uses, including describing unspecified past actions, life experiences, actions with present relevance, and actions continuing into the present. We also highlighted how time expressions can add context and distinguished it from other tenses such as the past simple and present continuous. With practice, you'll master the present perfect tense and enhance your English fluency. Thank you for tuning in to the Spelling Bee Ninja podcast. We hope this lesson on the present perfect tense has been enlightening and fun. Remember, the more you practice, the more confident you will become. Don't hesitate to revisit these concepts and incorporate them into your daily conversations. Keep learning, and join us next time for more exciting lessons in English grammar.